Hello again, GLL back for another video. Okay, today we're examining the Nintendo Switch hype by taking a look at Wood's video over there at BeatEmUps, link will be in the description, and kind of red pilling him and kind of spin reversing what he's saying, because he's saying the Wii U is no longer worth purchasing if you already own a Switch, which could be true. But if you already own a Wii U, why the fuck would you get a Switch? Let's take a look at the fucking video.
And this thing is so stubborn, it doesn't want to come down in price. So back here, I have a collection of Wii U games that I am ever so proud of. And we're going to go through the exclusive games, and I'm going to highlight...
Wii U's also still cheaper than the Switch. And so are the accessories. Just saying.
Some of the best ones and explain why there's really no point picking up a system anymore just to play the exclusives that are left. I'm going to go through these games in sections.
There's also no point picking up the Switch to get the one or two exclusives that are currently out.
So I'm going to start with the Wii U games that have already been ported to the Nintendo Switch. So obviously picking up a Wii for these, that's a no-brainer at this point. It's not worth it anymore. Hyrule Warriors and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, both of these just got announced at the last mini direct that they are coming to the system at some point this year. So picking it up for either of these, not worth it. Plus, much like all these games that have been ported, they're all the definitive versions of the games. Donkey Kong has a new character added in it, Funky Kong, and Hyrule Warriors is a mix of the 3DS and the Wii U version in one version with extra content on top of that. So these two now have really become redundant on the system. You also have
Well, hang on there a second, because do we know Hyrule Warriors is the best version of the game, being as there's terrible frame rate problems in that game on the Wii U. So how are they going to combat that on the Switch? Now, I always play in split screen, but it's not actually split screen on the Wii U because your co-op partner uses the gamepad and has its own screen, right? So with that running, the fucking frame rate is terrible. Okay, the frame rate's always been terrible in that game. They're terrible in a lot of the Dynasty Warriors games. But that obviously is less demanding than having an actual split screen. So if they're going to have a split screen on the Switch, I'm guessing the performance on that fucking version would be worse than the Wii U version. Now, I can't confirm that, but hopefully somebody will make that video and make a comparison, and we can see if the Wii U version is superior. And if the Wii U version is superior, then how is it going to benefit you to buy the more expensive version on the Switch if you already own a Wii U? Obviously, if you only own a Switch, you're going to get the one on the Switch if you want the one on the Switch. But this is for people who are Wii U owners. What is the incentive there to run out and get a Switch? You already own the game, or you already own the console that you can get that game on. Makes no sense. And the DLC was all on offer, so most people picked it up when it was on offer. So why would you want to buy the same game again if you own a Wii U? Or if you own a Wii U, why wouldn't you just pick the game up instead of buying a system for £300 where you have to buy all the accessories and shit again?
Bayonetta 2, and the double pack at that is coming to the Switch in February. Probably in the top 3 games worth picking the system up for, and now you're going to be able to play it on the Switch with a new game coming out too. Lego City Undercover.
Yeah, okay, that's great. The new game's coming out, but from a personal standpoint, I don't give a shit about Bayonetta, and I don't think the Nintendo fan base gives a shit about Bayonetta, because the last time it was out on the Wii U, it didn't sell for shit. Now, it might do better on the Switch, but no one really gives a shit about Bayonetta.
I loved this game, and I definitely recommended this heavily when it first came out. Really fun, extremely long loading times, which wasn't any fun. But this game is also on the Switch now, as well as PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. There's so many ways to get a hold of it. And then, of course, Mario...
Yes, but the Lego City Undercover, the best version of the game, is still the one on the Wii U. The one that was re-released was a bad port to all systems, and it's had numerous fucking problems. This is well documented. Go and look it up. The game is inferior to the Wii U version. Everybody seems to think that due to frame rate, actual playability of the game, and obviously all the Wii U features that were there that could only be done with the gamepad have been removed from the game.
Mario Kart 8 has a deluxe version, and now that I think about it, I didn't even grab it. Pokken Tournament, which is in here somewhere. Pokken Tournament also got a deluxe version. Why does this feel empty? No, it's not empty.
Pokken Tournament is rumored to be a game on the Switch that actually allows you to hack the system. If so, that game's price is going to jack up through the fucking roof, and you ain't going to be able to fucking get hold of that motherfucker. So I would suggest just getting the Wii U one, because it's going to be cheaper. But if you want the superior version would be on the Switch. So I can't really argue with that. But Mario Kart 8 is probably one of the weaker Mario Kart games. Not worth buying again if you already own it. And there's not really anything in the Switch version that's superior to the Wii U version. It's just the same game. If you already can get the DLC on the Wii U, you can probably get the game cheaper by the DLC. So there's no real difference there. There's nothing extra, maybe like some Splatoon characters or something in the Switch version. Nothing superior there, and I've noticed that the performance in the Switch version isn't as good. But yet again, it's not all black and white.
Empty, good. 6 amazing games for the Wii U that you could easily find worth in picking up the Wii U just for these 6 titles alone, let alone the ones that are left, and now they're on the Switch. It's getting harder already to justify picking up a Wii U.
Well, or these are all games that are already on the Wii U that we already own, so why would I bother getting the Switch when I already own all the fucking games on the Switch? On the Wii U. And I can't even use my Pro Controllers from the Wii U on the Switch or anything like that. They won't even go over. For some reason you can use GameCube controllers using the GameCube adapter, but you can't use the Pro Controllers from the Wii U because the Pro Controllers from the Wii U are wireless and it doesn't work through the USB, so you can't use them. Even though it's the same button layout and it's a Nintendo system. It's exactly the same controller apart from it doesn't have the fucking motion shit in it.
And before I jump into the next set of games, I also want to state the obvious here. The Wii U, as fun as it was, and as much as I loved the tablet, as soon as I got the Switch, I was like, Switch is cool, it's all in one, but I'm going to miss that whole playing on both, having one here, having the Switch between. Honestly, that's never really even come up on the Switch, and the Switch is its own contained unit, and actually it's way better having it to be able to go on the go or just dock it and play it like a normal system. I loved that aspect of the Wii U when I had it, but now that I don't, I really don't miss it. Next, let's talk...
I don't really see many people out on the go with the Switch. And the Joy-Cons are uncomfortable anyway. The actual tablet for the Wii U is more comfortable than the Joy-Cons, but... never mind, eh?
About the prequel games, meaning games that were released on the Wii U and are super fun, but we already either have sequels on the Switch or we know about sequels coming. Yoshi's Woolly World, we have a confirmed new Yoshi and Kirby game. Actually, Kirby is the one game I think I have left to pick up for the Wii.
Okay, so this is a slight straw man because he's saying that because there's going to be a new Yoshi game on the Switch, you don't need to play Yoshi's Woolly Worlds. Why? I mean, it's still a different game, so it's still an exclusive game to the Wii U, unless it was released on the DS or something, I can't remember. But you still need a Wii U to play that game. So although, yes, there is a sequel, and it's not worth getting the Wii U if you have the Switch, but at the same time, there's no point in getting the Switch if you have the Wii U, because you already have a Yoshi game on the Wii U that's already exactly the same. So why would I go and buy the Switch to play the exact same shit again? It works both ways. So by throwing the Wii U under the bus, you essentially throw the Switch under the bus because they're the same fucking shit.
And those are both coming to the Switch. And sure, they're not the same. It's not like they're direct sequels or anything like that. It's not like they intertwine in any way. They're just their own standalone titles. But when you have two of essentially the same game, just on a newer system...
But are they essentially the same game? Because those games haven't even come out yet. Are they even going to be as good as this one? Whatever. They're not the same.
It makes sense to pick up an older system to play these, to go out of your way to try and find a Wii U.
And it doesn't make sense to buy the Switch if you already own the Wii U and you own all these fucking games already, because it's the same fucking shit regurgitated again. It's just nothing new.
point when you could spend the same amount of money pretty much in getting the Switch. And that's pretty much where I'm going with all of these titles, like Splatoon, where you have Splatoon 2 on the Switch now. Obviously, you're going to want the new one. It's better, in my opinion, but also it's an online game, so you're going to want to jump online with everyone. And I'm not sure what the community is like on this old one anymore, but there's no reason to pick up a Wii U to play this instead of...
Well, the online on the Wii U is completely free, whereas you're going to have to pay for the Switches online. So if you don't want to pay for online, then clearly it's better to get the fucking Splatoon on the Wii U because it's fucking cheaper. You don't have to pay for online. I mean, it's not like they added voice chat or anything significant to the game on the Switch. It's just the same shit. Just slap a 2 on the end and you can do a couple more moves or something, but it's still just a game where you fuck around spray paint and shit. So what's the difference? If you already own a Wii U, why would you buy the Switch? Yeah, if you own a Switch, why would you go back and get the Wii U to play Splatoon? That logic works, but the same reason if you own a Wii U, why would you go and buy a Switch when you already played that shit already for free and now you've got to pay for online? Where's the plus here?
The counterpart. You could go both ways on this one. I'm not saying pick up the second one over this one. A lot of people prefer that one. I just personally prefer this one. But again, when you have one or the other, why go out of your way to pick up a Wii U? You could put it on a pro list if you're already considering picking one up and there's other reasons for you to go ahead and do that, but it's not doing it any favors that it has a sequel on the new system already. And
well, this thing is, though, the new one is proper weeaboo shit, and it's proper, like, Japanese anime art style, whereas that one is more fucking grounded in some kind of realism, if you could actually fucking... But, you know, I don't like the series, personally, but if you were going to talk about Xenoblade, you know, surely the first one is the most important one, because that was the one everybody always talks about being this great game, even though I completed it and I fucking hated 90% of it. A lot of good theme music and things, but just not my cup of tea. You know, battling system is not fun whatsoever. Story is fucking terrible, especially at the end. Won't give anything away. But, you know, if you're going to play Xenoblade, you really need to play that one first and then work your way through. And you can play that one on the Wii U, but you can't play anything backwards compatible on the Switch. So if you have a Wii, you get a Wii U, you can play Xenoblade, you can play all these other games, you can play all the games you already own, and you can buy Wii games. Like Xenoblade, like Pandora's Tower and all that shit. Can't get that shit on the Switch because they're Wii games. So you can play 2 Xenoblade games on the Wii U. You can only play 1 Xenoblade game on the Switch. And arguably, that one is inferior, like you said. So, which is it? I mean, you can say, well, why would I bother getting the Wii U to play a Xenoblade game when I've got a Xenoblade game on the Switch? But why would I bother getting a Switch if I have a Xenoblade game on the Wii U? It works both ways.
And I've been over 2D Mario platformer type games for the longest time. This was never a selling point for me. Not a bad game, but I definitely didn't enjoy it. I love Mario 3.
But there is no 2D Mario game on the Switch, so there is no comparison. So if you want a 2D Mario style game, you're going to go for the Wii U. You're going to go for the DS. You're going to go for the Wii. Or you're going to go for the Wii U and play the Wii 1 and the Wii U 1. But you can't play that on the Switch, so that's an actual negative. There is no side-scrolling Mario game. Now, I don't give a shit. I mean, you got Super Luigi U as well, which is like DLC. I don't give a shit about those games, but people do, and there is none of them on the Switch currently.
My Mario 2D platformer. Mario 3D World, on the other hand, amazing. This was incredible when it came out. It still is a really fun game, but Odyssey takes a steaming pile of something all over it, in my opinion. Odyssey is incredible, and this doesn't hold a candle to it. At the time when I played this, I said to myself, 9 out of 10. But considering Odyssey at this point, I'm going to bump this down a couple pegs. Odyssey blew me away with how fun that game was.
I'm sure Odyssey's a great game, but is it really justifying you buying a Switch if you already own a Wii U? No, because you already have a 3D Mario game in Mario 3D World. It's there, Mario 3D World. You can play that. So is it worth going and buying console just for Mario Odyssey, and some people will be like, yes, it's the best game ever, and I can accept that opinion and that reference, but if you look at it on fucking paper, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth spending 300 quid plus buying pro controllers for 80 quid a pop, plus buying the game, plus buying the online to then play other games. All that is cost. Whereas to just buy Mario 3D World for your Wii, it's going to cost you like 20 quid. That's right, it's going to cost 20 quid because it come out on Nintendo Selects, which knocked the price half down. So it's like 20 quid, go out and buy it, possibly brand fucking new for 20 quid, and you got a complete 3D Mario game that you can play with up to 4 players. It has all the classic like Mario shit in it. You can like wear your fucking Tanuki suits and your fucking all that shit, you know, Hammer Brothers suits and flaming Fireflower fucking suits and all the rest of it. You know, it is a fun game. So you can go and buy that for 20 quid, or you can spend 380 quid plus the game plus whatever to play Mario Odyssey on the Switch. It works both ways. If you own a Switch, why would you buy the Wii U to play Mario 3D World? But if you own the Wii U and Mario 3D World, why would you buy the Switch to play Mario Odyssey? Yeah.
So we have, again, some prequel type games that you could say you either have equivalent versions of or better versions of on the Switch. So there's another 5 games that I used to boast and say, hey, the Wii U's worth it because of these games. 5 plus the other 6, I'm already down 11. Smash Brothers is a limbo, and I wouldn't say it's worth it at this point because you know there's going to be a new... one. That sucks. We just don't know when. It's definitely coming though. Whether it's a port of this version with a ton of extra features or a brand new Smash Brothers title, you know it's going to happen. That's a no-brainer for so many reasons. So picking one up now, I would say that's a no. Fun game though.
Well, hang on a second, because we don't know that the Switch version of Smash Bros. Is going to be the superior one in terms of quality. We know it's going to have all the DLC, but we don't know that that's going to be more quality. There is a map maker mode in Smash Bros. On the Wii U, which uses the gamepad. Without the map maker mode, you can't make like classic levels, like N64 levels, your own creations, all that. It won't have that way where you draw the levels, so they have to completely redo the map maker or remove it. So that's one big negative straight away that it's not going to have. Now the game actually felt better before they started updating all these characters and shit in. It felt more of a solid experience. Like everything seemed to work better day one out of the gate, and every time they added a new character, it seemed to fuck the code up. Like it just doesn't play as good as it did when it came out, regrettably. So the actual best version is the Wii U version if you could install or uninstall all the updates. Unfortunately, the Wii U just likes to install updates when you don't want them. But, you know, realistically, the Wii U version is probably the better version of the game. In my opinion, at this present moment in time, we have nothing to compare it to. So I don't care for characters like Bayonetta. I don't care for characters like Roy that are overpowered. I just don't give a shit. Like, nobody cares that I know cares about these extra characters. So what is the incentive to go and buy the Switch if you already have the Wii U version? Yeah, great. If Smash Bros. Is coming out on the Switch, that's great for Switch owners. But what about Wii U owners? Why are they going to buy the Switch to play the same fucking game? I mean, at least your GameCube adapters work on the Switch, but you would have already had to have bought Smash Brothers, or at least planned to fucking buy Smash Brothers on the Wii U to even have the GameCube adapter for the Switch, because it's the same one. So unless they re-release the GameCube pad adapter, you can't use GameCube controllers on the Switch anyway. So the people that already have a Switch, if they want to get Smash Brothers when it comes out, that's fine, but they ain't going to be able to use GameCube controllers. Just another negative, but you can on the fucking Wii U. Now, you can use GameCube controllers, but you have to have that Wii U adapter.
Which brings us to the games I dropped and the other ones in my hand, which is the leftovers. The games that are pretty fun, and I would say they're worth picking up and playing if you have a Wii U, but at this point, I don't think this ragtag title of games is going to sell anyone on a system purely on their own merits. The biggest one for me that I absolutely do adore is Paper Mario.
But on the same fucking thing, there's load of shit games on the Switch that no one gives a shit about, so why would we go and buy a system based on that? We don't want to care about Bomberman on the Switch, so that ain't going to sell the system, is it? It's the same with this, but you can spin reverse it the other way. There's nothing on the Switch that's compelling apart from Mario. That's it. That's all they've got. Right now, that's all they've got. They've got the new Mario game, and there's already Mario 3D World on the Wii U anyway, like we've just discussed. So why would you go out and buy a Switch if you already own the Wii U? It has the same fucking games. But you're saying if you own a Switch, don't buy a Wii U. Well, if you own a Wii U, why the fuck would you buy a Switch? That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make any sense.
And honestly, if I was to pick up a Wii U out of this list, this would probably be my number one personally. I had so much fun playing this game. You are really missing out if you have a Wii U and you don't have this. The Wonderful 101...
So why is that in the ragtag bunch? It's a Nintendo fully fledged IP. It's a Paper Mario game. Just because it isn't his cup of tea, why is it in the ragtag pile? Surely that'd be in the immediate pile, but it seems like he's put that in the ragtag pile out of his own opinion. I mean, I don't give a shit about Paper Mario, but there's people that do, and there isn't a Paper Mario game on the Switch, so that's another point for the Wii U, I'm afraid. Wonderful 101, shit, it's just a crappy Pikmin game, no one cares about it, but I'm not going to carry on talking about it, I'll let him just speak about that one.
One was an amazing game. I wouldn't pick up a Wii U for it personally, but it's a really, really fun title. It's a little confusing, the controls are a little annoying at times. Not a system seller, but a fun game if you have it. You have the Zelda remakes. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is...
So that's an epic fail there, right? Because he's like, Zelda remakes cuts and then you see a Breath of the Wild logo. It seems that Wood here has forgotten that Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game that was ported to the Switch. So if you have a Wii U, why wouldn't you just buy Breath of the Wild for the Wii U rather than spend money to get the Switch version? So once again, this works both ways. Don't buy the Wii U if you have a Switch, but don't buy the Switch if you have a Wii U. That's what this video should be titled, but it's I do not recommend buying a Nintendo Wii U. Well, if you haven't got neither, buying the Wii U might be a better option for you at this moment in time. I do not recommend buying a Wii U as the title of this video, but at the same time, if you own a Wii U, he doesn't recommend that you buy a Switch because it has the same fucking games. So why is the Switch this all singing and dancing hype machine when it's just the same shit as the Wii U? This is the idiocy in the video game community. They fucking see a new system that's basically the same shit as the Wii U, but they've all rushed out and bought it for just a gimmick, basically. And Nintendo will continue to do that as long as you continue to fucking do that. Oh, here's a new gimmick, and we've all rushed out and bought the system. System's a bag of shit. It's the same as the Wii U, exactly. Same games and everything, but we buying it for the fucking shitty gimmick.
A really great JRPG. Again, I wouldn't say buy a system for it. Pikmin 3 is...
But it isn't on the Switch. Pikmin 3 is not on the Switch, but it might come to the Switch, but who gives a shit about Pikmin?
Second to Paper Mario for me. This game was a very early-ish title in the Wii U's lifespan, and this was the first game that really told me you have to pick a Wii U up, if for nothing else to play this game and then see what else is coming in the future. But now looking back on it, still an amazing game. I'd still give it a solid 9 out of 10. I had so much fun with this, and it still looks beautiful. I would say there's probably going to be a Pikmin 4 coming on the Switch, or at least, if they have no intentions of doing that, a remaster of this game. But I feel like with the 3DS Hey Pikmin game that came out about a year ago, there's definitely life in the franchise, and I think they had a couple of new amiibos, or at least one new amiibo recently, so we'll probably be seeing a Pikmin 4 sometime, maybe after Metroid. I love this game. I'm not even going to bother putting it on the list anywhere, though, because I think I'm the only one that loves it, but I would take a remake of that. I mean, it's on PS4. It's on PS4. There, I answered my own question. For a lot of people, I know this is number one.
Yep, Zombie U hasn't been exclusive for a long time, but the Wii U version is arguably the superior version because the game was designed for the Wii U. If you want to play a definitive version of the game, you need a Wii U. That's just the truth.
one. In fact, it's the #1 port people are asking for at this point, Mario Maker. It would have to be tweaked a little bit in the sense of you played it on the TV while using the tablet as the editor. I think really the only way to do it with touch controls is to make it so you play only on the tablet, a tablet-only game. You could have it on the TV without the touch controls, but at that point, I don't know. I think definitely playing it on the pad. There's a way to put it on the Switch is what I'm saying. And I wouldn't be
Game is already on the DS, by the way. 3DS.
Surprised if they do it, or they do a sequel, or they do something with this. It was a huge seller for the Wii U, and I'd be really surprised if they threw this concept away. And finally, Star Fox Zero. I think finally, unless I forgot anything else. And for me, this ain't a seller because, and I know I get a lot of hate every time I mention this.
Captain Toad itself is like a game, there's nothing really like that on the Switch, so that's another point for the Wii U.
I never got my head around the controls. As a lot of people didn't, I thought the controls were kind of wonky. You bring it to the Switch and you tighten those controls, you make it playable on just the pad, and I don't have to do it half on the pad, half on the TV, get all confused. Then I'd be interested in playing it again, but at this point, I wouldn't recommend anyone buying that game, period. I didn't have a lot of fun. I was let down by that game, and I know...
Well, the thing is with Star Fox is, if you play it in 2-player, it's actually a fun game. If you play Star Fox Zero in 2-player, where one person shoots and one person aims, then you don't have to deal with all that bullshit of looking at one and looking at the other, because one person is looking at the gamepad and one person is looking at the screen. That kind of cuts out that problem. So I suggest you would play the game in 2-player, and then maybe you'll enjoy it. But I totally agree with him on the controls. The controls are fucking horrendous in that game. Unless you do what I just said and make it 2-player where one person shoots and one person steers. But obviously if it comes out on the Switch, there's no guarantee they're going to take out that motion control bullshit, because that motion control bullshit is in the Switch. But there will be no 2-player because there is no fucking gamepad mode where you can have one person on the gamepad and one person on the screen. So that mode will obviously be removed. So if Star Fox did come to the Switch, would it be the inferior version of that game? Highly likely, I would say.
A lot of people hate me for saying that, but I personally was let down by Star Fox Zero. So my overarching point to this video is, when I first started my channel, as I said, my first really popular video was, hey, the Wii U was worth it. And I built so much of my channel around that video. So many of my future videos were inspired by that video. And I still, even in my RIP Wii U video, I said the system is worth it. But after that direct, I really got thinking, it's really not anymore. At this point, it's a great system, don't get me wrong. I still love it, I still cherish it. I cherish it in the same way I love the NES, the GameCube. It's still great to pick up for that reason, to go back and play a retro system and pick up some of the games maybe you missed out on. But at the price it's at, and just so stubborn to come down, like over half the great games for the system are coming to the Switch, and trust me, we're going to see more sequels to those games. We're going to see more ports, I'm sure.
Well, listen to what he's saying. He's saying it's too expensive and it's got the same games that are on the Switch. But the Switch is a more expensive version of the Wii U. The Wii U is cheaper than the Switch. If you already bought a Wii U, if you already have the fucking controllers, if you weren't one of these people that boycotted the Wii U for no fucking reason, because it's a better fucking console than the Switch, newsflash, if you boycotted the fucking Wii U and then you went and got the fucking Switch, yeah, why would you go back and get a Wii U now? But if you already have a Wii U and you already have all these fucking games, what is there on the Switch? What is there on the Switch that makes you go and buy anything on the Switch? Okay, there's nothing new. Okay, if you get the Switch and it's like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna get the special edition of Hyrule Warriors because I love that game, I'm gonna get it again. Okay, fair enough, but there's got to be something else. There's got to be a new game. There's got to be a lot of new games to make you go and buy that system, and all we've got so far is literally Mario. That's it. That's all they got. That's all they got. One game for 300 quid, 80 quid pro controller, and the game on top of that. Not worth it. The Switch is not worth it. The Wii U's only not worth it if you missed it in the first place. And that's the truth. So feel free to subscribe, guys. See you later.